3-0. Amaya in the front serving from Colombia. Cespedes from the Dominican Republic. Round robin, day 2. Outcomes determine seeding for the single elimination. Three-shot rally from Amaya. That's what she wants. Official is Morales from Mexico. Make that 2-0. She actually prefers that, I'm sure. Big skip from Cespedes. Amaya knew that Cespedes was in the back. A little too casual on that pinch. So it's 3-0. Make that 4. And 5. Cespedes. Doesn't look like she showed up. That's better. Zero 5. Maybe that'll give her some confidence. Gets on the board. And I'm joined by Laura McCormick, who's going to be assisting with the broadcast starting on Thursday when we start the quarterfinals. Laura, tell me a little bit about how what we're doing on Thursday is different to this, shall we say, a little more amateurish effort during the week.
Well, first of all, hi everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks to Tim for streaming these early rounds. I think it's really nice to be able to bring that to viewers at home. And I think one of the differences is right now you're using a single camera. So starting on Thursday, we'll be diving into the main draw, which essentially goes into the playoffs, and we'll be live streaming the men's, women's, singles, doubles from the quarterfinals, the semifinals, the finals. And just covering it in a different way, covering it with more angles, and adding a little more sass to the broadcast, I guess, too.
That must be your job, Laura.
That'll be me. You'll hear some sass from Laura McCormick giving Timothy Baghurst and Gary Bezeroff a hard time on the air. But we have a good time, and it's so exciting to get to watch all these different players. That's what I love about being here.
Yeah, we see different styles. We see a lot of camaraderie that we don't always see on maybe a professional tour where everybody's really just playing for themselves. One of the things that I'm looking forward to is a front camera. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's something new that we've introduced in 2017. If you watch the Junior Worlds, that was the first time we introduced it last November. We put a camera right on that front wall about 4 feet off the wall, so it's not really involved in the play. And it just provides a really interesting angle for viewers at home. You get to see racquetball from the front, which is something you don't see too often. You see the players' faces, you see the way that they move and the way that they swing. So we hope you enjoy that too. It's one of my favorite angles, for sure.
So we just talked about the fact that we're seeing different players, maybe different countries during the week. When we get to the quarterfinals, having broadcast several of these now, what is the difference in the environment and the way things change once we hit the quarterfinals?
Well, I think once you get to that point, there's a little bit of different pressure. I mean, obviously these players are playing for gold, silver, bronze, the whole time. They're going for gold. But now you have the added benefit of being on the broadcast, so that changes a little bit of the pressure. One of the things that I love is seeing the teams come out to support each other. I love seeing a sea of yellow for Colombia right now, a sea of blue for the Dominican Republic. So that to me is what changes. You really start to see teams come together as people have been eliminated or they're playing less since it's single elimination, so the stands really start to fill up and you really get that country pride feeling watching the matches.
But speaking of fans, I know this is your first opportunity to come here, as it's mine as well. Talk a little bit about Costa Rica yesterday and the fact that, the standing room only all day pretty much for those playing on the show court. It was pretty special considering it's just a round robin day one, get used to the matches and so on.
Well, there were some excellent matchups to open up our first day too. That kept it really exciting. But to see the support and how big racquetball is in Costa Rica and how everyone came out, and I'm sure having it being a Saturday had something to do with it versus a Sunday today. But there was just a really nice energy in the club and in this stadium seating. It was just packed all day. It was awesome.
Yeah, we're at COL on Cespedes. That was good from her. Nice to see. We're at 10 serving 4 right now for Amaya. One of the things that I really enjoyed was the fact that it was an intelligent crowd too. They were very vocal, they clapped even when it wasn't their player or team winning the point. They understood racquetball and they were vocal. And a lot of times you see fans who are just kind of apathetic. They're just there. They're on their phones. They're not really watching. And yet this crowd yesterday, they were really engaged. And even through the evening when Costa Rica in the men's doubles kind of dragged themselves through game 2 to take it to a tiebreaker and then beat Ecuador, which was quite an upset.
Wow, I didn't know. Yeah, that's pretty exciting. I got out of here early for dinner last night.
Not going to happen on Thursday.
Yeah, I got to save my energy now for some long days on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But I have to say this is my first time in Costa Rica, and that has been the overall general feeling that I've had is that the people are very nice, and everyone's willing to lend a hand. You ask for something, it's done, no complaints. Everyone's really nice and supportive here.
One of the things I'm looking forward to in this tournament is that day off on Tuesday, just because it allows us as staff and also the players to kind of experience some of the culture and country, whereas in some of the tournaments we've been to, it's been racquetball every day, which wears on everybody, and it's tough, especially on the referees when they're having to go every day and all day. Let's face it, the players are in there for a reason. It's tough, but once they're done, maybe they go back to the hotel and they're done, whereas the officials and staff were here all day. And so it's just nice to get away and kind of experience something other than a club and a hotel in a country. So I think a lot of us are looking forward to that opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's also the big day that I get to set up the front camera that we were talking about, because the courts won't be in use, it won't be too late. So I hope after we accomplish that mission, we'll get out to see some too. I've been hearing of a trip to the beach, which sounds like a great way to get out and see Costa Rica.
Yeah, I think some of us are going to see a volcano, an active volcano. So very excited about that. A lot of biodiversity in Costa Rica, and it's huge for tourism, and they do a great job of, as you said, in hospitality. So here we are, we're at 13-4. Amaya is in complete control, yet I say that, and she was yesterday when she won the first game against Sotomayor from Ecuador. I asked her this morning on the bus, what happened? Why did you lose that match? You were in such control. She said, I was in the tiebreaker still trying to figure out how I lost game 2, and I lost focus. And that's one of the things that the players have to do, and it's kind of regroup and concentrate throughout the match and don't get lazy and careless. Cespedes hanging around, 4:13. We will post the matches to come on this show court once we have them confirmed. We're still waiting for that.
One thing that I like that you guys have, the IRF has incorporated this year is the live results. I think that is outstanding for people at home watching from wherever they are in the world in order to keep up on exactly what's happening and getting live scores. So kudos to the IRF.
And that's a new thing. I've never seen that before, where literally we're getting point-by-point updates. So fans can watch their favorite player online, not on video, but at least know how they're doing.
Yeah, and you can access that at internationalracquetball.com under the live events page.
This is an interesting situation. We've got Juan Manuel Gutierrez coaching Amaya. He's coached her for many years. But over on the right, we have De Leon, who's a player for Dominican Republic, coaching Cespedes, whereas their head coach Monroy isn't here. So it's interesting. I wonder, he must be refereeing I'm so used to refereeing, coaching a different match.
You know, I think that's a good point about something else that we see here at an event like this. A lot of times you do have several players playing at the same time. You got to split up your coaching staff and divide and conquer in order to be everywhere at once.
Yeah. They did set up the draw, though, to ensure that no two players from each country are playing at the same time. That was one of the things that they announced in the coaches' meeting, which is great. And that eliminates that. So again, it goes back to, this is strange. Where's Monroy? And I wonder maybe if De Leon just trains with her a little bit more, and Monroy with other players. I don't know. 14-5, game point. Cespedes hanging in there. She just can't win points on her serve. Sotomayor won her match, 15-1, 15-4. She's in this group with Naomi Sasso-Kessler from Costa Rica. So looks like Sotomayor's on her way to the number 1 seed from this group. That'll give her a big advantage as she enters the single elimination draw. Avoids some of the other 1 seeds. Examples might be Paola Longoria, who won yesterday, and most would expect to cruise through the rest of her draw. Pinch rollout from Amaya. And there's the first game. Amaya takes it 15-5. Pretty comfortable, you have to say. Cespedes really struggling on her serve. Got some side outs, wasn't really able to capitalize. So we'll see what De Leon has to say to her to try and change this. Players get 2 minutes in between games. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comment box. We'll be happy to answer them. Laura, I mentioned this earlier, but we're at this Club Indoor in San Jose, Costa Rica, And having never been here before, what are your impressions?
It's a really beautiful club, and it has a lot. I got a chance the other day to walk around the club, and there's a lot of tennis courts. There's a beautiful pool, a great gallery. There's lots of places to kind of hang out to, which is great. And like I said, the people are so nice. Lucky for me, they speak a good combination of English and Spanish to match my very bad Spanish. But it's a beautiful club, and it's obvious that racquetball is a big sport in Costa Rica. I was talking with Marcelo Gomez, and he was talking about how there's the country club, there's this club, there's also some public courts that have just been built. So the Costa Rica Racquetball Federation is really doing a lot to keep the sport growing. And one of the things that blew me away at the opening ceremony was that the president of Costa Rica was there himself to support the event, support the growth of the sport, and promote education as well. So I thought that was an incredible effort from everyone to come together for this event.
It really was. We had the Minister of Sport and the president of the country coming to support a racquetball tournament, and that was amazing to see. And like you said, it's treated very seriously here. They have full-time coaches, multiple full-time coaches, working with junior program and senior program, and we've started to see some good results, especially from one of the two of the juniors. We have the consistent regulars. We have Felipe Camacho, players like that who have played professionally, but we're starting to see some of the juniors coming through the world junior ranks into the seniors. Melania Sauma is a good example. She's a student at Arizona State, playing in the U.S. Intercollegiates. I believe, I could be wrong, but I think I'm right. She was a silver medalist in the women's draw, and so there's definitely talent there, and it's just a matter of seeing that develop over the next few years. Some of these players are still very young. You have Ubilla, we saw yesterday, playing Moscoso, played very tough, and he's coming up. And then we also saw Andres Acuña playing Carlos Keller, and really just manhandled Keller, which was just a huge shock for, I guess, the international racquetball world, because of Keller's performances at the world level for several years now. And it's just that development of these players to where Costa Rica is becoming a handful for a lot of countries. They've really focused on their junior program, and it's starting to slowly show dividends.
Yeah, I think that's key. They've really been focusing on the junior development, and that's so important. We need that next generation coming up.
I think it's fair to say that one of the best countries at that is Mexico. We have terrific junior programs, and so when they get to seniors, they have the pick of the players to represent Mexico. And the Mexican Nationals were just a few weeks ago, and the draw was incredible for the Nationals. To represent Mexico, you had to beat so many great players, several professional players even, to get there. And part of that is because they come to the juniors and they play in the juniors for many years and have really comfortably won the junior title for the last couple of years.
Yeah, and they dominated in 2016 at the Pan American Racquetball Championships, right? They swept gold. And
it was on their home court, or San Luis Potosí, which was also a pretty incredible facility. So we've been kind of spoiled recently. Score, as you can see, if you look at the scoreboard on the left screen, there is 4-1 to Amaya, so no change really from game one. That's a good shot, though.
So Tim, what else is on the schedule for today's streaming?
Well, I was just mentioning, I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I saw it earlier, and I was hoping that one or two of the matches that I really wanted to see would be on this court. But I'm not the one who actually gets to make the final decision. I made some recommendations, but it's not up to me. So my recommendations, we'll see whether they worked or not.
So it's a mystery.
It is a mystery. We'll let everybody know once we know. But there's one or two really good matchups that I think should be interesting, and it'll just depend on whether we get to see them on this court or the fans here get to see them on a different court. We have 6 courts here. This is the show court, but we also have a couple of unique courts.
Oh yeah.
Courts 5 and 6. Talk a little bit about them.
Something I've never seen before. They have courts with a white floor as well as all white walls, and then there's the back glass. And it's interesting to me as a viewer to watch it. And Tim, you had the opportunity to play on that court. What was your experience?
Well, it was difficult. Having never played on something like that, it's just such a unique environment. And my opponent, well, this happens to be his home club, and he plays on there all the time. And so it was one of those things that I still don't know if I'm used to having played for an hour on that court. And the challenge you get, if you look at this court, you see that the floor is very brown, and the walls are very white. And so as you're looking forward to take your shot, you can see there's a clear delineation between the floor and the front wall. But playing in the court where the floor is painted white, where does the floor end and the wall begin? It made it very difficult. The other thing that they've done is the sidewalls are actually, one of the sidewalls is actually glass as well. And it actually looks out onto the street.
Right.
And so they've covered it with some kind of
like a white
lacquer or something. And so the bounce on that wall is different to the bounce on the cement wall.
It is. I was just watching Chile and Bolivia, Carla Munoz, and I'm failing to remember her opponent's name. And you saw that side, that weird kind of side glass with the covering on it, and you kind of saw the ball bounce off it funny a couple times. So that's always interesting to me how there's different elements. I love seeing that. Oh, her opponent was Stephanie Barrios from Bolivia against Carla Munoz from Chile. But again, it's a great facility. I like, there's the 6 courts, and there's viewing for pretty much each court except for those 2 white courts which are like end caps to the middle floor. But you can see from above and down on the floor level. So that's nice. It makes for a lot of viewers here able to watch a lot of matches.
We hope you're enjoying this match. Amaya is in complete control. 10, serving 3. Cespedes mishits it, gets away with it. Cespedes has been around for a while. I mentioned she was a silver medalist in the Dominican Republic at the World Juniors in her last year. It was a pretty neat experience for her because the Minister of Sport came to watch, because the Dominican usually isn't in a final. They have a good program, but when you're looking at who they have to beat to get into a final, the Mexico, the Bolivia, the U.S., and in this case Colombia, they don't usually make it, but she did, and so the Minister of Sport came to watch her play, and ultimately she didn't win, but for her, she told me it was just such a great experience to play on her home court in front of her family and friends and the Minister of Sport.
Four serving 10.
15-5, serving 10. Second game, Amaya won the first, 15-5. Amaya has a really interesting forehand. She flicks it. She uses a lot of wrist flick. And I know she plays competitive squash, and you'll see it sometimes in the way that she moves. Forehand is a flick, which occurs a lot in squash. You're flicking the ball back with your wrist rather than taking the full swing, as in racquetball. And she does it a lot. You see there, and just how she swings through on her wrist. But then sometimes when she plays, she takes a lunge instead of stepping across, because in squash the court's slightly smaller, and they lunge a lot more.
Yeah.
So it's just an interesting dynamic to her game. 13-5, 2 points away. And there, Amaya could have got that. Good lazy. She could have got that. 5-13.
I think you see a lot of that crossover between racquetball and squash, especially when we're at events like in San Luis Potosí at Deportivo Centro La Loma, Club La Loma. They have so many squash courts. You see a lot of players kind of doing that cross-training and playing a lot of squash too. It's a different game, but I think it utilizes less.
Match point here. Amaya, she's going to finish this. She does. There's the match. 15-5, 15-5. Amaya overcomes Cespedes in this round-robin match. We'll let you know what match is coming up as soon as possible. Back to the squash, though. Yeah, a lot of these players will use squash as a form of cross-training, fitness-wise. The ball stays up a lot more in squash, so there's more longer rallies, explosiveness from side to side, and so it can be a useful tool.